Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm Joan McDonald. I am the chair of the New York State Bridge Authority. Today is Thursday, July 18th, 2024, for our July meeting. The meeting has been publicly noticed pursuant to public officers and open meetings law of the state of New York. I will call the roll to see if we have a quorum. We know that Maria Bruni is unable to attend today. Alex Berardi.
Present.
Lanny Gilbert,
Present.
Michael O'Brien,
Present.
and I am present. Do I have a motion to open today's meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The meeting is open. First up on our agenda, Chris, do we have anyone registered for public comments?
Not today.
Okay, thank you. We do have some employee recognition awards, but we're going to move that further on down the agenda until they are both here. Okay, first item up is the adoption of the regular meeting minutes for June 20th, 2024. Do any of the board members have questions or comments about the June 20th board meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to approve and adopt the board meeting minutes of June 20th, 2024?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The board meeting minutes are approved and adopted. Next up is the executive director's report. Minoshka is not here today, so we'll turn it over to Lauren. Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you, Chair McDonald. Good morning, everyone. So for the executive director's report to the board for internal affairs, the Bridge Authority has been working on a strategic plan. This new plan is in the final stages of development, and we expect to be able to share a draft plan with employees, the board members, and other stakeholders for review in the upcoming months. For community work, on June 26th, Danielle Mass, our Director of Operations, Safety, and Security, was a panelist at the City and State's Rebuilding New York Summit. Her panel's theme was Rebuilding New York's Transportation Systems, and it focused on dissecting big infrastructure issues facing the state, money for repairs, use of MWBEs, policy recommendations, and where the state is seeing their biggest successes and shortcomings. Also, this past month, NYSBA participated in the New York City Pride Parade at the end of Pride Month on June 30th. She joined Governor Hochul and other New York State leaders in marching in the parade in solidarity with the LGBTQ community. We also, here at the Mid-Hudson Bridge, were able to relaunch our necklace lights on the 4th of July. We officially unveiled them from the walkway over the Hudson as part of the Poughkeepsie 4th of July fireworks. We were joined by the City of Poughkeepsie Mayor Yvonne Flowers and two morning show hosts, Chris Marino. So we want to thank the Walkway Over the Hudson Friends Group and State Parks for hosting us for this event. From an operational standpoint, on the 4th of July, the Mid-Hudson Bridge does get increased pedestrian traffic for viewing of the fireworks. So our security and maintenance staff did a great job of ensuring that operations continued smoothly on the bridge. So we want to thank them, as well as our law enforcement partners who ensure that everyone has a safe holiday at the bridge. Another activity taking place in July is the Great Hudson Valley Scavenger Hunt, which includes 3 of our Dutchess County area bridges, Newport, Pekin, Mid-Hudson, and Kingston Winecliff. This is organized by the Dutchess County Regional Chamber of Commerce, and it brings in visitors to the county to find their place QR codes at different locations across the county, which includes our 3 bridges. And it's an opportunity to earn points, win prizes, and just a fun way to engage with the community, to experience the different places in the county. For the Bear Mountain Bridge Centennial, as everyone knows, the governor released a press release on July 8th, celebrating the countdown to the Bear Mountain Centennial, including announcing all of the events that we have planned over the next 5 months to celebrate. So this month we had our second pop-up shop, which took place through July 15th. We offered many items that were in the first shop, but also many new items based on the feedback we received. And we also included a Purple Heart Veterans Memorial hat to honor the Purple Heart Veterans ceremonial name of the bridge. Luckily, we do have more hats and patches for that, so there'll be more opportunities if you weren't able to get a hat to get one at a future event. Our two most upcoming events are happening in August. On Saturday, August 3rd, we are having a canvas painting event at the Fort Montgomery State Historic Site with local artist Stacia Fernandez. Some of you may have met her. She also does art classes at the Skywalk Arts Festival. So that registration opened yesterday. And then on August 7th, which is National Purple Heart Recognition Day, we will be hosting an event at the Bear Mountain Bridge to honor our Purple Heart veterans. This month, we also hosted a tabletop training for active shooters scenarios at the Mid-Hudson Bridge. So on July 11th, our security team conducted an extensive active shooter tabletop training. This was developed in partnership with FEMA through their National Exercise Program and involved many Bridge Authority employees, as well as many of our local first responder agencies. So during this scenario, we focused on the Bridge Authority headquarters building, and we got to walk through the process, the coordination that would have to take place if there was an incident at the Bridge Authority headquarters. It was a very successful event. I want to thank our staff who put that together, and we hope to be able to host them in the future at some of our other facilities to make sure that all of our plans are in place, if there ever was a serious incident. For the Hudson River Skywalk at the Rip Van Winkle Bridge, we coordinated with DOT in order to replace some pedestrian signs on the east end of the bridge, which helps direct walkers and hikers to the Alana Trail System. In collaboration with the Alana State Historic Site and the Consco Museum, those signs are now installed. So thank you to all of our agency partners for working with us to make that improvement on the east end. For finance, there are no contracts to approve this month, but for a financial update, the June 2024 traffic consisted of 5.7 million vehicle crossings, approximately 74,000 or 1.3% above 2023. The June 2024 year-to-date traffic was 31 million, a 2.18% increase over last year. The Easy Pass utilization for June was approximately 2.5 million or 87.6%. The June traffic was composed of 93.8 passenger and 6.2 commercial vehicles. The May 2024 revenue was 7.8 million compared to 6.7 million last year. This 16% increase is attributable to primarily the timing difference with the unused commutership fees, where last year they were received in April. The 2024 year-to-date revenue was 31.9 million, an 8.2% increase over last year, attributable to the 2.2% traffic increase and compounded by the May 2023 toll increase. The revenue for May was comprised of 7.2 million Easy Pass traffic, 302,000 tolls by mail, 275,000 in fines and fees, and 73,000 in overweight fees. For the monthly activity report for the executive director, she did include the travel approved for an overnight stay related to the 4th of July fireworks event, which had a total cost of $197.42. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, I would like to add one item to the monthly report after the June meeting. Danielle Moss and her team hosted some of the team from Westchester County from our emergency management center, the Commissioner Richard Wishney, Susan Spear, the Deputy Commissioner, and Noah Goldberg, who runs our emergency response. And I think a lot of those face-to-face meetings, when an event happens, and they will, whether it's weather related or construction or major accident, being able to pick up the phone and seeing who they are face to face really makes a difference. I want to thank Danielle and her team for hosting, and my folks, my Westchester County folks, thought it was extremely productive, and we're very impressed with the traffic management center. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, any other board members have questions for Lauren on the report? Okay, next up, we have nothing in administration.
Oh, actually.
Are we ready? Oh, Chris, oh, sorry. Chris,
HBHB,
the
I don't
HBHB
have that on there.
Quarterly report, yep.
Okay. So this was the Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley quarterly report for second quarter of 2024, submitted by Catherine Burke, Director of HBHB. Some of the highlights include great progress being made on the Bear Mountain Bridge Centennial documentary, then more than 20 interviews with past and present Bridge Authority people, as well as others with knowledge of the bridge and the surrounding area. They should have a trailer available to share soon, with the completed documentary available this fall. Additionally, Kathy has been providing support for our merchandise efforts and other centennial matters. But on the merchandise front, HBHB fabricated 100 Purple Heart Veterans Memorial Bear Mountain Bridge patches, which were designed by NYSBA's own Olive Cadet. So those baseball style caps were included in the recent pop-up shop, and it'll help fund the Purple Heart event that we have going on in a couple of weeks. For the NYSBA conference, HBHB will provide vests or shirts for all NYSBA volunteers as part of their sponsorship of the conference. And the STEM Day plans have been adjusted to provide for a smaller group of students with more in-depth experience. To help create an authentic project for student participants, Kathy has been provided with locations for future builds for projects for the group Bridges to Prosperity, which builds pedestrian bridges to provide better access to fresh water in poverty-stricken areas of the world. So that'll provide a nice, real world type of experience for the students. There have been some school visits to the Bear Mountain Bridge, and the 8th annual Skywalk Arts Festival will be on September 21st. And then looking ahead, Kathy will be speaking to the Parks and Trails New York Bicycle Tour Group on August 10th. It'll include a presentation of the history of the bridges and highlighting the Bear Mountain Bridge Centennial, and she thanks Commissioner O'Brien for helping to make that connection.
Well, I could just pass on friends and working with those bike groups because their next stop is the Hopewell Depot Museum board member.
Mhm.
And they always talk about historic bridges and how great they are and how, they do so much to promote tourism.
Yep.
Thank you.
Is that it, Chris?
That's it.
Okay. We have our phone. Okay, we'll keep going. We have nothing in administration. Next up is engineering and maintenance. Jeff Wright.
Yep, so one thing is our second quarter traffic accident report. Basically, we had a total of 61 accidents throughout the facilities. This is kind of pretty much in line with the past 2-year second quarter accidents. Nothing of any significant importance or note to comment on at this time. Next up, we have the jobs in progress summary. The painting project for the towers at the Bear Mountain Bridge continues. The east tower is completed. The west tower is nearing completion by the end of the month. And then the only thing we have left to do is complete removal of the old paint system and repainting under each joint system at each tower.
Okay.
So that project's on schedule and on budget. The other project, one of the other projects we have going on is the Kingston Rhinecliff painting project on the approaches. Contractor is doing finish coat painting in the first 7 spans on the west approach. The east approach is now fully scaffolded, so that project continues on schedule and on budget. The only other project we have going on right now is the steel repair project at the walkway on the Hudson Bridge. Piasecki Steel, continues working there. We just had a meeting with Central Hudson as we're working near their, substation in Poughkeepsie to keep everybody, up to date on where we are for that. So that's all I have.
All right, questions or comments from the board members? Yep,
On the
Michael?
accident report, I just, the one thing I pass on is the rate of accidents varies inversely with the speed on the bridge.
Hmm.
So it's like where we get our accidents are the tie-ups here on the Mid Hudson and the Rip Van Winkle. I mean, not the Rip Van Winkle, the Kingston Rhine. So,
And I assume that they're primarily rear end collisions, which happens with.
or side swipe when people.
Switching lanes.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Questions, comments on the jobs in progress report? All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the jobs in progress report?
So moved.
Thank you, Alex. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Alex Berardi.
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert.
Aye.
Michael O'Brien.
aye.
And I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna do our employee recognition for Scott Anacone. Scott, come on up. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, we do these on a fairly regular basis to really honor employees who have gone above and beyond. So in recognition of your outstanding commitment to the health and safety of our community, on June 7th, Assistant Foreman Scott Anacone was able to pull an individual back who had climbed over the rail to the sidewalk until police arrived and took them by ambulance to the hospital. The quote is, Assistant Foreman Anacone's nominating Supervisor Jeff stated, thanks to Scott, the individual is alive and hopefully able to receive treatment. This shows the commitment of New York State Bridge Authority staff to helping those in need. In recognition of your work, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
again.
you so much.
So,
Thank
I thought I just want to tell you, it wasn't just me, it was my other fellow coworkers that helped me too.
Yep,
Stephen Corrado and Darius Coulter,
okay,
they also helped too.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move to finance. Brian, monthly investment report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman Donald. Indicated the first item is the investment report. There are 9 investments, all of a routine nature. Those are reflected in the investment inventory. Inventory reflects the maintenance reserve fund balance staying at 106.4 million. Interest income yield, we ticked up a bit to 4.65%, 566,000 per month.
We'll take it. We will take it. Questions or comments for Brian?
One more then.
All right, do we have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Alex Berardi.
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert.
Aye.
Michael O'Brien.
aye.
And I vote in the affirmative. Next up is the insurance renewals. Brian?
Okay, the authority has several insurance policies coming due. We kind of timed most of them all for August 1st. The first up would be general liability. Through risk strategies, the premium increase for the coming policy period is 52,238, which is quite a bit better than the increase we saw last year. It is a 10.3% increase. However, compared to the literally 30% increase we saw last year with market conditions, it's considerably better. Next up is the umbrella policy. Additionally, we saw significant increases last year from 774 to 938. This year it rises to 1,075,000. Overall general umbrella excess rose 13.2%, which is $190,000, which is a lot, but considering we saw a 33% increase last year based mostly off of market conditions, as well as some claims activity, it's a welcome improvement. In addition to that, we have several other policies that are coming due, smaller, if you will. Business automobile went up from 95 to 101. It's a 6.7% increase. This is related primarily to an increase in vehicles. We have a vehicle use program or fleet program in which we go and we replace vehicles, and we had several of them show up shortly before the renewal. We expect to do an auction. The vehicle number was up 4.8%. We went from 83 to 87 vehicles. We'll be bringing that back down once we go and outfit the vehicles we purchased. The rest of it was really great. Commercial package. This one went up a little more than we had expected. It really relates to the property market. The property market, we've always done very well with Great American. And even this year, despite them having a 25% rate increase solely on the property component, we still couldn't find anybody who would go and even propose for less than, literally like 20-30% additionally on the property side of it, property being the biggest part. Overall, it's not a crazy big dollar value. It's 12,134, but the percentage wise is 27%. Data protection, we are recommending that the authority change carriers again under the same broker. We were using Travelers last year. It came in previously at 18,000 or 17,999. We have a new option through the Beasley Group for 15,562. Again, it's not a big dollar value, but it's a percentage reduction of 13.6%. Public officials and employment practices. This one, normally we're running out with 2-year policies. We had some claims activity that we believe we've addressed without loss. However, the carrier was only willing to provide us with a 1-year policy this year. It's at a 5.8% increase, and they left it contingent that as long as we have no further claims activity, they'll renew with the same rate for next year. So it's a 21,150 as opposed to the expiring policy, which reflected at $20,000 per unit.
Questions or comments for Brian?
The only comment I have is, I thank you, but also it's just outrageous, what they're pulling, the insurance companies are pulling. And I hate to say it on everything where I understand that, when, with the homeowners and all that stuff down in Florida because of the weather and the climate change and all that, but really our situation hasn't changed significantly. And I'm just observing from 2021 to 24, 25, almost more than 100% increase in here from 422,000 to over 1 million in coverage. It's outrageous.
So, and the number of bidders has dropped
Right.
from over a handful to
There
single.
needs to be some sort of oversight.
Right.
There really.
And
That's
reform.
just my
Yep,
suggestion.
yep,
I mean, that we have no control over.
right. Any other comments from the board members?
Good job, Francine, on the MFA
Mhm.
implementation, because if the data protection goes wrong, in terms of that numbers.
Right, it is. All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. The trustee money market investment option, Brian?
Okay, so with how interest rates have increased and have remained higher longer than I think anyone expected, the trustee has come out with an additional option for the authority to go and place funds in a money market fund. The authority has a requirement that whenever we go and place funds in any investment, has to be underpinned by either collateral or it has to be a U.S. government or New York State investment. In order to allow the authority some increased flexibility in terms of timing, the Bank of New York, which is the trustee, has a Dreyfus division, which is offering a money market fund that will sweep our funds at the end of the day and allow us to gain overnight interest income. Okay, this is something that pops up periodically when interest rates rise high enough to make it worthwhile, and they seem to be doing so now. This is just really a authorization by the board for the treasury function to be able to utilize this option. Okay, ideally, it should increase our month-to-month interest income, probably not too significantly, but hopefully noticeably.
Okay. Questions, comments from the board?
Great work. Thank you for pursuing this.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Alex. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Alex Berardi.
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert.
Aye.
Michael O'Brien.
aye.
And I vote in the affirmative. The resolution's approved and adopted. Next up, the annual payment to the Department of Civil Service. I thought we did that last month.
Actually, we did that back in February.
Oh, wow.
It seems the state has gone and rapidly advanced their building.
Accelerated.
frameworks.
Ah,
I
okay.
had not expected this until first quarter next year.
Aha.
However,
Soon you'll be as righteous overnight.
we'll be able to pay for it with that. That's another story.
Okay.
But in any case, so this showed up and they're asking us to pay it by August first, so that is why it's in this month's board meeting. It's an increase year over year from 18,000 to 22.9 thousand, largely as a result of the rate per employee jumping from 210 to 297. Okay, we continue to reduce staff, and on our civil service list associated with the transition to electronic tolling, we're still working to go and adjust that. At this point in time, we asked the board to approve payment of 22,870.
Are they gonna check at the end of the year to see what your actuals were?
They have a process to true up where they send us the
Great.
list. We work on it. We may get a little bit of a credit here, but for the most part, we pay.
Well,
Okay, questions for Brian? All right, can I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Can I have a second? Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Alex Berardi.
aye.
Lanny Gilbert. Michael O'Brien.
Aye.
And I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up is the accident report.
Okay, consistent with Jeff Wright's summary earlier, there were 61 accidents on authority facilities, both patrons and staff. They're classified for bridge in the summaries. It's attached to the board item. This compares to 70 the prior year. This is 12.9% decrease on 2.18% higher traffic. We're very happy with this because the drop seems to have occurred primarily at Newburgh. In 22. We didn't see as much of it. We had the 4-lane configuration on the south span. When 23 came around and that configuration was gone, we didn't see that much of a drop, but we saw it in 24. It's weird, okay, but yes, it's better. There was one accident involving authority staff. Details are in the memo. This item is only for information purposes, no actions required by the board.
Okay, any questions of Brian? All right, thank you, Brian. Next up, we have nothing in IT, nothing in bridge operations. So Danielle will do the safety and security dashboard for the second quarter.
I'm sorry, I didn't have you kind of want more. Yeah. Hi, floating meetings control. All right.
So this quarter, there's nothing too remarkable to report, but we'll still go through obviously all the data. There are some operational changes we made this quarter that I'll highlight throughout the presentation. So internally, the guard response time rose about 15 seconds from quarter one, likely due to an increase in traffic. It does take a little bit longer to obviously respond to something with more obstacles in the way. Law enforcement time, interestingly enough, decreased significantly from last quarter. And some of that maybe we've asked them to be a little more present and on premises more often. But in consistency with the quarter two of last year, we are still decreased in terms of our response time. Incidents, this hasn't really changed much throughout the quarters. We still see the highest level with disabled vehicles, and the other, types of incidents have remained pretty standard throughout the quarters. We have still continued to see the most incidents at Newburgh, likely the same as all the other quarters. We have the most traffic there. As well as, Hudson still remains the number 2. And the other facilities, we've seen a little bit of a decrease. Incidents by bridge, we continue to see pedestrian incidents those have become a little bit higher at Mid-Hudson and Newburgh as the weather's gotten nicer. We've had people who, have challenges finding how to get to the sidewalk, especially coming from Mid-Hudson, they'll walk down the ramp. So at Mid-Hudson and Newburgh, though, we do have 24/7 response there to be able to redirect pedestrian traffic. Rip Van Winkle, we continue to have incidents where pedestrians are in the roadway on the overnight shifts, which we'll get into that data in a little bit, but we've started to evaluate if we should change our operations for that as well. Debris in the roadway, so something notable here, there's been a lot of debris just by the nature of the amount of traffic at Newburgh, so response to debris really does require a 2-person job for that type of event. So historically, we've always had 2 scheduled STBs at Newburgh and Mid-Hudson, but if we do have a call out or something that hasn't been pre-scheduled, we don't fill the shift, so we've been operating with 1. We've recently changed that, so this quarter, as long as if maintenance isn't on property, so our afternoon, overnight, and weekend shifts, now we're always mandating that 2 people are there for response at Mid-Hudson and Newburgh. Incidents by bridge. So you can see accidents have, we just spoke about Newburgh and Mid-Hudson have remained our highest. We've had the most amount of EDPs at Newburgh, and Bear seems to still be somewhat of an issue for us with, the amount of suicides that we're experiencing there. So that's another thing we're looking at. How can we, decrease those numbers? Is it a staffing change? Do we need to operate there 24/7? Do we need more staff? We recently did add an additional full-time Bear Mountain STB to the roster there. So now we have an additional full-time person, which has given us more coverage, which has been really helpful, and we've seen success from that. So we are evaluating staffing recommendations. Overnight incidents, we continue to see that the majority of our incidents are still occurring in the afternoon, which supports most of our staffing levels. But as I just said, we're to try to mitigate some of the overnight events that are occurring at higher events occurring at different facilities like Bear Mountain. We are considering looking at recommendations for additional staffing and expanding hours. So the overnight incidents by bridge, we still continue to see the highest at Newburgh. The same for pedestrian incidents. Again, Mid-Hudson and Newburgh, we do have full staff, so we have people available for quick support. But Rip Van Winkle, we have lighting on the sidewalk now, and we did make the decision to leave the gates open so pedestrians don't have a challenge or a roadblock on getting to the sidewalk. So we'll evaluate over the next couple months if the pedestrian activity has, their behavior has changed and they're using the sidewalks before we make a formal recommendation. Comparison by type, so quarter over quarter. We've seen that a seasonal increase across all incident types relative to Q1. Suspicious activity, this is something to note, has decreased, which is really good. I think that's the presence of the guards and, really being forward facing to the public. So this is pretty standard. In terms of EDP interventions, we've had quite a few this quarter, with 14 being successful. We've also had 37 welfare checks. So we have been more proactive in approaching people. Obviously, it's impossible to tell from camera or before you approach someone what a situation may be. But if we do approach someone who doesn't need help and isn't at risk, it's just another it's a conversation from a guard. It's social interaction, so that's positive. And if it is an intervention, if it is someone in need of help, we're there, and that's been pretty successful. You might not be able to see behind the word box here, but suspicious activity and trespassing incidents have also decreased, which is something notable, due to presence and quick response of our staff. Staffing levels, again, nothing's really changed here. except that we are now fully staffed at Newburgh and Mid-Hudson, with the exception of maintenance hours. And our solo shifts have gone down. All of our staffing levels have really increased since we've made some of these changes. People are calling out less, people are showing up to work more. We don't have that much, we haven't hired additional staff to take on additional shifts yet. But we're evaluating if we need to do that to maintain the higher staffing levels. Camera tours, we are very shy of 100% for all the tours conducted in the command center. And this is really notable because there have been a lot of incidents they've been responding to, but we've been able to maintain our situational awareness. And property tours. So something we've seen here is a decrease in our sidewalk tours, and that's, we've had inclement weather, we've had heat waves, but that has shown an increase in our vehicle tours, because if we ever do cancel a walking tour, we'll replace it with a vehicle one. And then in terms of technology and equipment, all of our systems are functioning as expected and as designed. So CityLog is continuing to be the main source to pick up traffic incidents. SiteLogix is continuing to be the main source to identify any critical incidents that include pedestrian activity. CCAs and STB is still another primary source of detecting incidents. So we continue to look at all of our calibrations and settings on an ongoing basis and make tweaks so the systems are really optimally performing. This is just the breakdown. So SiteLogix, again, really detecting trespassers and suspicious activity, with CityLog detecting the majority of vehicle incidents. And that is the highlights for this quarter.
Thank you so much. Excellent, not only presentation, but work by you and the team.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciated.
Great numbers.
Greatly appreciated. Yeah, it really is. It really is. All right, thank you, Danielle. Nothing in electronic tolling and audits, and nothing in media and public information. No other presentations except for Danielle, and the only new business is the August board meeting date change, which will be on August 20th, 2024. And just to make sure it's official, we're going to adopt a resolution to approve it. Do I have, we told everybody, so you'll all be here. Do I have a motion to approve the date change for the August board meeting? Thank you, Alex. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Alex Ferrardi,
Aye.
Laney Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien, and I will be affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Any new business from the board members? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting? Thank you, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, cool.
Week in the weather.